Hey guys, today we are having a very important guest as usual. All my guests are very important. But before then, I would like you to please subscribe to this channel if you actually like hearing people's stories, especially career-wise. I promise you that I will bring a more important person. Today we have a popular face here at Northern Illinois University, the face of the business college, Miss Celeste.
Hi everyone.
She looks so Nigerian, right? Anyway, according to her, she's of Nigerian ancestry, but she's someone whose story I would like the general public to hear about. The brief time I've had to talk with her, I was inspired by her career commitment and the decision she has made so far. Some decision which may not be easily understandable by any other person, but she understands her decision because this is her life and she decided to choose the decision. And for someone like her, whom at very young age, she wanted to go to live in all the continents of the world.
Yes.
I think at 12. And
Yes.
she also wanted to be a doctor. But currently now she has a new passion in project management. And I think that's where we'll start our conversation today.
Yeah.
What actually changed? What?
So like you said, from 12, I knew I wanted to go to and live on all 7 continents. And I also wanted to be a doctor. Medicine is something that I've always found interesting. On YouTube, I used to search surgery videos and watch them in my free time. Kind of weird, but it was really interesting. I think it's interesting how the human body works. And the biology behind that and how we function, how illnesses and traumatic body functions happen. I thought it was super interesting. So I knew I wanted to be a doctor from a very young age at 12, like you said. And I also found a lot of, interest in traveling. I'm someone who just loves to learn. So I love to learn different cultures, different aspects of cultures, how different people live their lives. I think it's super interesting, and that's why I've wanted to live on all 7 continents. I still don't know where I'm gonna end up, I'm in the United States right now, but I also lived in Spain for a few months.
Spain?
Yep, I lived in Madrid, Spain. That was an amazing experience. But I came back to the US to finish school.
I know you have been to 2 continents so far. Okay.
2 continents.
America and Europe, right?
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been to 3.
3.
I've been to Asia. I went to China last November. I forgot.
Yeah. For education
Yeah,
purpose.
for education purposes.
Yeah.
The Chinese government, it was like a special program that they don't usually do. One of the professors here at Northern Illinois, accounting professor Chi-Shen Lee, her husband actually teaches at Shanghai DNG University in China. And he had a lot of connections there, and the Chinese government sponsored a few of our students from Northern Illinois to go there and to experience Chinese business and how they do things. And it wasn't like a normal study abroad, but it was still amazing.
Thank you for doing PR for China.
Yeah.
The Chinese government, you have to pay me, or else I'll call the spot. Well, you got your EMTB license just
Yes.
for knowledge,
Yes.
but the pandemic pushed you into the field.
Mm-hmm.
What was the transition like? And before you tell us what the transition is like, I know so many persons here don't know what EMT is. Can you just briefly tell us what was the transition like?
Yes. So I got lucky in my high school career. We had a thing called Technology Campus or Tech Campus, and they had a bunch of different things. They had certified nursing assistant, they had EMTB, which is emergency medical technician basic, and it's kind of like a step under paramedic. So we're the ones in the ambulances going to the scene if there's a medical emergency, whether that's a trauma like a car accident, gunshot, knives, or stabbing, or if it's a medical emergency where someone has a diabetic episode or overdosed on medication, anything like that. I'm the one, after the police are called, to show up and to help treat. That'd be that first contact of treatment for those people to bring them to the hospital.
So how did you do that during the pandemic? Considering that there were restrictions.
Yes.
How did you do that?
So I finished high school in 2019. So I got my license between 2018 and 2019. I purely did it for knowledge. I was like, this is really interesting to me. I didn't think I was actually going to work as an EMTB because I was going to college. So I didn't think I could work and go to school. So after the pandemic started, I was still in school. I ended up failing that last semester of my freshman year because of the pandemic in 2020. I became really depressed in that time. I think, everyone did, it was...
I feel like this country makes people depressed. Yeah.
For sure. That's why I want to get out of here. Yeah.
Because throughout my life, I've never had depression, especially in Africa. But here I've had, recently I had a depression. So, but
I think this country prioritizes profit over people.
Yeah.
So it's not a great place to live. It's a great place to make money and to work for some people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that you once dropped out of NIU.
Yeah.
During this period of time, you worked as an EMC. And can you tell us what actually led to you dropping out of NIU? What actually shaped your mind? What dominated your mind during this period of time?
So my second semester of my freshman year ended up failing that semester, but I ended up working full-time as a EMT for that summer of 2020 and then part-time when school started. So I was continuing with school in the fall of 2020. That semester went a lot better. Half of my classes were in person. So I was getting used to being in the pandemic and kind of being socially isolated. And then that next semester I ended up quitting school and dropping out. There's a lot of things going on in my personal life with relationships, family relationships, personal relationships. And I kind of had a quarter life crisis, which is funny to say because I was 19 at the time, having a quarter life crisis. And I was just thinking, is this really what I want to do with my life? Am I satisfied? Do I truly want to do this, or do I feel like I need to do this? And just reevaluating everything. So I decided to quit school, take a step back, work full time, and just figure life out and figure what I wanted to do. So after that, I started working full time as an EMT, and I worked full time for over a year, trying to figure stuff out. And that's how I led into project management. I got into project management. I was trying to figure stuff out. I got into therapy really heavily to just figure out what makes me happy and figure out all of my stuff and all of my childhood trauma. I suggest everyone go to therapy. Everyone needs it. Even if you don't think you need it, go to therapy, life changer. Seriously, very much changed my life in a sense where I know who I am now and what I want out of life. And I just feel more at peace and more calm with my position in life.
The way you talk about these things, I know it wasn't easy experiencing childhood trauma, going to quarter life crisis.
Yeah.
And you said you weren't satisfied at some point in life.
Yeah.
I know no woman is actually satisfied, but are you currently happy?
I am.
Are you sure?
I am. I will say I didn't have the best draw at life. I've experienced stuff that a lot of children shouldn't have experienced, but past that, I'm very lucky with my family and my friends and my close relationships, and even my community, acquaintances, friends, peers. I'm very grateful that I have a great support system and that I'm doing what I actually want to do, and I find joy. Okay,
so throughout your conversation, your childhood experience has featured prominently. Now I know you are not a mother yet, but I know definitely one day, I don't know, you would like to be one, right?
No, probably not.
No, okay.
Probably not.
But if you're in a position to adopt a child, how would you raise the child differently from how you were raised?
That's a really, really good question. I think it's important for children to know how to live life. So in terms of if you're having a child, you're not just having a baby, you're raising a human being. So I think it's very important for parents to teach their children how to live life, how to cope with life, because life can get crazy and hectic. I know, just life can be lifing sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to teach children life skills so they can develop into functioning adults. And that comes through a lot of different ways with support, emotionally, physically, and getting them, whatever they need in terms of becoming an adult and becoming a human being.
I see. Now let's go back to your passion for medicine.
Yes.
You loved medicine
Yes.
very well.
Yes.
And unfortunately, you faced racism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why I dress this way, because I'm a proud African man, proud African person. To identify with you, to support you, because I know racism is not a good example.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good experience.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm so sorry that you have to face it. But how did it shape your decision to leave the field of medicine?
I think in the US, especially as a Black woman, there's a lot of racism. I've dealt with racism my entire childhood. I can remember racist experiences as young as 7 years old. So not a great life of a Black woman in the United States, but it is what it is. There's a lot of joy in it too. But in terms of emergency medical technicians and paramedics and police officers, they're all kind of warped into one field. So I don't know how much you know about the United States, like police force or firefighters, and decades ago, and how they treated like people of color. But specifically for firefighters or paramedics, they used to have like a book of Black homes and Black addresses. And when they got a call of a fire or a medical emergency to those addresses, they wouldn't come. They would purposefully not help, Mexicans, Black people, Asians, in some cases, if they were experiencing an emergency. And, we know about police brutality in the United States. And they're all like warped into one. Usually if a family has a police officer, there might be a paramedic, there might be a firefighter. It's kind of just a familiar industry for all of them to be in there. So that has trickled down from generation to generation. So I did experience a lot of racism with my time as an EMT. And I love the medical part, I love the medicine, but at that time it wasn't fair for myself to keep putting myself in that situation of continuous racism in a workplace which is supposed to be like accepting of everyone that works there. Like, we're here to do a job, but unfortunately I experienced racism while I was trying to do my job.
I see. Sorry about your experience. Now, as an individual, because Celeste, you have the potential of becoming anything you want to be. Assuming you are in the position of power, maybe in an organization or in the government, what would you do to actually reduce racism in workplace?
It's a hot topic right now with the new president that came into office. I know they're trying to get rid of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think that is not the way to go. I think diversity, equity, and inclusion can mean a ton of different things. It's not necessarily with sex, gender or race. It's also diversity of thought. You want people of different backgrounds to come work for you in the same team, because the more knowledge you get, the better you can make a decision, the better you can solve problems. You want that vast knowledge. You want the diversity of knowledge. And that helps all businesses. It's been proven to help all businesses, just that diversity of thought. I think there's been a lot of focus on, race and gender, and that is important because there's a lot of misogyny that goes on in the United States, and there's a lot of racism that goes on. Misogyny? Yeah. Sexism? Yeah.
Because misogyny is I feel like it's a masculine affair, right? Men trying to dominate the women. Is it that what we mean? Men trying to dominate the women?
Yeah.
Here in the United States?
Yeah. And to put women down.
To put women down?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Have you done comparative analysis of what you're saying?
Of what men experience and what women experience? Yes. We can go back and forth all day about this.
Because
I'm not going to deny, like, men do go through a lot. I won't deny that. I won't deny that. But also, men are in a position of power.
Yeah, but here, women are also given the opportunity to actually go into a position of power, like contest for election. But for instance, in Nigeria, the entire Senate has only 3 women in there, and they have over 100 senators there. So imagine. So I feel like United States, they are even trying. And sometimes so many things you can easily do in Africa as a man, and you will not be sanctioned. You can do that here, and you'll be sanctioned.
Yeah.
So even from some guys, like for me, if I want, I can also argue that here feminism is becoming too much, because even we the men too, we face some gender-driven violence. But since you said misogyny is too much in America, let me just agree, because I don't want us to debate about it.
Another conversation.
So you said travel has become a big part of your life.
Yes.
And what has travel revealed about yourself? And yeah,
I like this question. After working full-time as an EMT, I would say a year after working as a full-time EMT, I started to solo travel. The first place I solo traveled was Puerto Rico, San Juan, and it was an amazing experience. I looked on Skyscanner, which is an app where you can plug in any dates or any place and find the cheapest tickets. So I think I got like a $50 plane ticket round trip to go to Puerto Rico from Chicago. And then I also stayed in a hostel, which was like $20 a night. And then I met a bunch of people there and just traveled and went to museums and traveled around the streets and talked to different people. And I think in the US, we're very sheltered. The US is very big, so you can travel within the US and experience a lot. But we're all Americans at the end of the day. I think it's important to go outside of your culture and to speak to different people and different places and different places in their lives, not just physically. And I think it kind of opened my mind more to the world and how people experience things differently. I think even solo traveling is kind of therapeutic in a way.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I love solo traveling.
Let's talk about your how you got interested in project management.
Yes.
It was through a Google search. What actually made you feel like this is what I want?
Right. So it was during the time where I was heavily into therapy, just trying to figure out my life stuff and also experiencing racism as an EMT. And I was like, I need to figure something out. One, something that will make me enough money so I can travel, because it is expensive. It can be really expensive. And two, something that I actually enjoy. But also three, something I don't have to be in school for 10 years. Because with my love of traveling, I realized going to medical school and being in schooling and residency for 10 years is not something I want to do. I don't come from a rich background, so if I were in school for that amount of time, I would not have traveled. All of my money would have been going to school and kind of just like surviving, paying my bills, paying my rent to go to school, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I value traveling so much and there's a lot that you can learn. I was like, I don't want to be a doctor right now. I think it's something that if you do in my future, I probably will go to medical school at like 40, probably.
You spend another 10 years in the future. Do you have do you have the time?
In 20 years, I might. In 15 years, I might. So I was, okay.
Okay, you know, I think one of the things you said, you told me that you have been naturally organized since childhood.
Yeah.
So how did this level of organization shaped your approach to this your career switch?
Yeah, I think I was just Googling ways to like make good enough money, and I came across project management went through a Google search, and I didn't know anything about project management. I didn't even know it was a career. I didn't know it was a job that you could have. I had no idea. And through further research, I'm like, oh, this is something that I innately like to do, like organize, make something simple, make sure things get done right and on time is something that I've always enjoyed. I remember being a kid and I would reorganize my room, and that would be fun to me. You know, I think project management is definitely a skill that I've had to develop over time. I had started to use calendars more. I started to use Canva. I learned Microsoft Project, a bunch of different softwares and how to be more organized in my personal life to prepare me for this career. So I was doing that for like a couple of years before I was able to get the job that I have now, the internship that I have now as an IT project manager. But it's a skill set that you have to develop.
Or is it in school here or?
Yes.
The IT project management internship.
Okay.
Is he in school here or outside the school?
Outside of school.
Outside the school.
Yes.
Here in Chicago or?
It's remote, actually.
Remote.
So they are based in St. Louis, Missouri, which is about, I think, 5 or 6 hours south of us. But it's remote. So I can be anywhere in the US and work. Yeah.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank
It's not
you.
easy to actually get an internship.
Yeah. I applied to like 70 places.
70 places?
70.
I've applied for about over 100 places
Yeah.
so far, but I keep on getting. Unfortunately, we can. Thank you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, thank you. Unfortunately, but it's part of the process.
Yeah. If you want help with your resume, let me know.
Okay.
I feel like I'm not the best at it, but I've gotten decently good.
Okay.
With
Thank
resume.
you. Thank you. I think the major issue I'm having is because of my background. I'm a political science major, trying to shift towards information system management. So I needed to actually get some certification. I'm currently working on one particular certification. Hopefully, I'm scared to take the exam, but hopefully I'll take the exam.
You'll do good.
How can someone, especially a black lady who is stuck in her career, actually like figure out what to do in terms of career switch? Because you're not the first black lady or younger lady I've seen who are actually frustrated in terms of their career choice and the choice of their major. Even here in NIU, there seems to, most of them, because of pressure, they seems to want to do something around nursing because of the money. And sometimes some of them will go there, they realize it's too much of work, they know this is not what they want, they would like to do in the future. So based on your experience, what actually shaped that switch?
I first want to say, as a black woman, yes, we experience racism, but I try my very best not to think about it. In the US, I think for me, it's better to pretend like racism doesn't exist sometimes and just try to do my best. If I thought about racism often, it's very mentally taxing on someone who experiences it semi-frequently nowadays. I just kind of pretend like it doesn't exist. I just live my life for me and what makes me happy. I think when you're trying to find a career, I don't believe in if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. I don't believe that exists. A job is still a job. Like, it's gonna feel like work every so often, and I think that's okay. I think if you're miserable, that's another problem. But I think you should find something you enjoy doing, but also makes money. Like, if I just went straight to money, I would do something I'd probably be like a software developer or something like that. But that doesn't make me happy. I would be miserable, but make a lot of money. So I decided to make less money than I could possibly make, but do something that I truly enjoy. And I think taking a couple years off and dropping out of school helped me a lot. I think I needed some time away from school to figure out what I wanted. And I chose my career first, and then I came back to school. I think a lot of people choose like a major first, and then they try to figure out their career. I don't think that's how college should work. I think we have that expectation in the United States to just go to school and choose a major and whatever fits. But I think it's important for young people to experience life, travel, meet different people that you didn't think you would, get along with. Figure out what you enjoy, choose a career, and then if you need to go to school, if you need a degree, if you need a certification to go to do what you want to do as a career, go back to school, get that degree, get that certificate, but figure it out first before you spend tens of thousands of dollars and just end up miserable.
Do you want to invite her to talk to you? What? I'm her manager. Pay me some dollars. Well, she looks so shouty. So, she doesn't need to announce herself. Anywhere she is, you can easily say this is the person. But one thing about her is that she's an introvert. I know you won't believe because she has been talking so like this. She's always been lost in deep thoughts. I've observed her for a while. And I realized, as you can see from our conversation so far, she said spirituality has helped her in this choice of decision. But I want to ask her, what do you mean by spirituality?
By spirituality, I mean a faith that things will work out how they're supposed to. I mean a faith in the universe. I don't necessarily believe in God. I don't know if I can say that for certain, I know you've mentioned that, it's not something you can measure. It's not scientific. It's just kind of a belief. So I can't say if I believe in a God or not. But I do have faith in myself and in the world that things will work out how they're supposed to. And that's what my spirituality means.
No, even though I don't want to intrude into people's personal life, but if you don't mind, if you permit me, I would like maybe take you through the process of actually maybe have one or two someone talk to you about who God is. You understand? Because I told you I was once like you a few months ago. I backslided because of I was a Christian, even though I was going to church, but I wasn't a Christian. And God is not what everybody say. Like it's an experience. You understand? But if you allow people to actually define who God is for you, you may not really understand Him. You understand? So, but I don't know. This is America, and part of being America is minding your business. You understand? But my spirit thinks like I don't know. In my mind, I feel like if you can give me listening ears outside this podcast, I will actually find out a time. I'm not a very good preacher, but I can actually find out a time so that we'll discuss the issue of God, the existence of God, and how to actually have a personal relationship with God. I believe God exists because I've done many things that I know if something somewhere, I don't know what I should call that thing, is not by my side, I know I will fail. A lot of traps. Has people ever conspired against you before? Has anyone ever conspired against you before?
Try to get me to believe in God?
No, like somebody trying to set a trap for you to fall into it.
I'm sure, yeah.
Sometimes you see yourself, it's not because you are too intelligent. If you look around, sometimes you see many intelligent people, they don't make it in life. Not because they don't have what it takes, the skill set, but because they don't have that favor.
I mean, I believe I have good karma.
Yeah, you have a very good aura. Look at me, I'm very comfortable having the discussion with you. Even from the first day we met, you have a very good aura, but I understand you said little things about how you felt at like your disappointment with organized religion, especially the church. Trust me, I also have my own, I also have reasons, like many reasons, plethora of reasons to leave the church. But when I have a deep reflection of the things I gain from having a personal relationship with God, I convince myself to stay. So I'm not staying in the church because of my pastor. I'm not going to church because of my pastor. I'm going to church because of myself. You understand? I'm not saying necessarily you should be a Christian. I'm also not saying necessarily you should believe in God. I'm just trying to say that God actually exists. You understand? And this God is not a human creation. No, but if you are not careful, you'll be worshiping a God that is created by human. And the God you have heard, the God you have experienced in the past, maybe the kind of Christian God you have experienced in the past, is the God that your pastor has created, not the God that created your pastor. Sorry, I'm not a pastor. But exactly.
I'm open to it. I have gone to quite a few churches, Christian churches, Catholic churches, Buddhist temples. I found out about the Gita like a month or two ago. So I'm open to all religions. I think there's something and lessons to be learned in every religion. I think there's something to always be learned wherever you go.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not opposed to it. I go to church every so often just because I think there's information and lessons to be learned.
Well, I know you are very busy. How busy are you this weekend?
This weekend, we'll see how this week goes. I'll say that.
Don't worry, I don't mind sending you 50 pages email to convince you to come to our church.
Is it in DeKalb?
Yeah, it's here in DeKalb.
And on Sunday?
On Sunday, and we have 2 services. Sorry, I'm not doing evangelism.
Wait, how long are the services? Because I think I can make this work.
Okay, maybe 1 hour, 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
Okay, I think I can do that.
Yeah, if you don't, I know you have your car, right? So if you cannot make it with your car, I can actually make an arrangement with a car that will bring you to the church.
Okay.
If you come to the church, don't worry, don't even identify yourself as a newcomer. Even though I would like to announce you to my pastor, this is me, and if you are not comfortable with that, just come and go. If you are not even comfortable with me identifying with you, I just want you to listen to what the pastor will say.
Okay.
If it comes, I don't believe that the first day you go to church you believe in God, but I know that in our church, that it's called Christ Community Church, there is the preachers, they preach the word of God with high level of sincerity. So if you're interested in going to the church, maybe the Sunday or next, trust me, I will be happy to have you there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. I'll prepare you a Nigerian meal.
Okay. Okay, then I'll go. You convinced me. That's all you needed. That's all you needed to say.
Okay. You also talk about therapy. I want you to talk about therapy because most of my viewers are from Africa. And in Africa, we don't always talk about therapy. You get the point? So I would like you to talk about the importance of therapy in career, in personal life, in relationship with one another. Because as an African, I know back home, if I say therapy, they will say, oh, this guy, you are not a man enough. Why would we be talking about therapy? So I want you to talk about the importance of therapy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that reaction, which is understandable. I think if you've never been to therapy, you don't really know what it's about. I love therapy. I love talking about this topic. It's helped me in every aspect of my life in terms of like dealing with unhealed trauma. It's like you don't know how much it affects you in every aspect of your life, whether it's with your relationships, with schooling, just like the day-to-day living your life. It affects you so much and you don't really realize it until you're out of it. And I think therapy is a great way to see your blind spots. You know, there's some people that have never been to therapy that are really good at self-reflection, and I can appreciate that, but there's just certain things you cannot see because it's yourself. You need someone else to be able to like reflect on like the dark aspects of yourself. It's not fun, I will say. Therapy isn't something like, I'm gonna go have a fun time with, a friend or whatever. It's hard work. It can be mentally draining at times, but it is worth it. It is very much worth it. I think I would not be where I am today if I didn't go to therapy.
So I'm feeling like I need to ask you this question.
Yeah.
I know you are not expecting a question, but I know during this process of where you were facing these personal challenges, there was someone like maybe your parent or your relative who was in your life trying to encourage you. Can you specially mention the person and appreciate the person before the camera?
Yeah, I would like to appreciate my dad. He's also been through a lot in his life. He grew up in the deep South in Alabama in like the 60s, 70s, experienced a lot of racism, has gone through a lot. And I think a lot of my like good spirit and my good heartedness comes from him. He's just such a good person and he just wants to help people. So shout out, Dad.
Your dad is good.
I love you.
So, you said you wanted to live in all 7 continents.
Yes.
We know it's not possible.
It is possible.
It's possible.
It is possible. It is possible.
Well, assuming I'm giving you, handing you a plane ticket, where would you like to be now and why?
I think the next place I want to live, I know you're gonna say Nigeria. I'll say Nigeria. Specifically, yes. Specifically, Nigeria.
Sorry, because I'm a Nigerian. She said she wants to be in Nigeria.
I really do. I have, my ancestors come from Nigeria, so I do want to experience the culture firsthand.
Well, I know this is a discussion for another day. Maybe I will have a time to discuss with some African people of African descent here to tell those. I have one of my friends. His name is I call him Adekunle George, but he's from Jamaica, but he's also from his DNA 44% Nigerian, and he talks about his ancestry a lot, and he likes Nigeria. So maybe one of these days I can invite him and maybe any other Africans to talk about this ancestry and how it affects your personal life, your relationship with people, even the environment. Yeah. Thank you for coming. But before then, who is May professionally in one word. Professionally.
Who am I professionally in one
Yeah.
word? Ooh, that's a good one. Maybe inquisitive.
Inquisitive.
I'll say yes.
Interpersonally. Who is May? May, sorry. It's Maze. Mays.
Yes. Goofy.
Goofy.
Yes. I'm hilarious. I will say
Hilarious?
hilarious.
She really talks to people. I wonder how she's hilarious.
No, you have to like just know me and like, you know, hang around me enough to be like, yeah, she's hilarious.
Do you know how much it took me to get her into this podcast?
I'm an introvert. I'm busy and I enjoy my alone time. But I'm very happy I'm here.
Okay, thank you. And then what do you tell to people? Please, can you encourage them to subscribe?
Yes, like and subscribe below. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for also coming. Hey, sorry, Paul will penalize me. Paul, I have a question for you.
Yes.
She said, what do you enjoy most by when doing project management?
What I enjoy most is making an unorganized mess organized. When you get a project, everything is all over the place. There's a bunch of different moving parts, and it's really satisfying for me to just bring it all together, make it all organized, make my list, my calendars, make sure everyone's getting their things done, and just bringing it all together.
Very organized lady.
Yes.
Very organized lady. Thank you.
Thank
She's
you.
from Nigeria. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.